On April 1st, 2025, Minnesota edged Denver 140-139 in a game that was widely called the game of the season. This season, when they met on Christmas Day, it happened all over again. Anthony Edwards hit a fadeaway three with 1.1 seconds left to force overtime.
Gets it in, turning a three for the tie, good! Anthony Edwards with 1.1 second to go in regulation.
Nikola Jokic also came through with another one of his historic performances. 56 points, 16 rebounds, and 15 assists. 18 of those points came in overtime alone to secure a 142-138 win. But since then, people have got the idea. Every Nuggets vs. Wolves matchup is must-watch TV. This is bringing back memories of the Magic's Lakers vs. Birds Celtics rivalry that elevated the entire league in the 80s. But is Nikola Jokic and Anthony Edwards truly the duel that NBA fans love, and can we expect more? Let's get into it. Now, one of the things that makes this duel unique is how different the Joker and Ant-Man are. Across their 32 total meetings, Jokic has averaged 31.5 points, 12 rebounds, and nearly 9 assists on close to 60% shooting. On the other hand, Edwards has averaged about 30 points per game while attacking with a completely different rhythm and force. You see, Jokic controls the game through precision while Edwards tries to bend it through pressure. It is pretty much like the highest IQ versus the highest level of athleticism. Also, the players themselves respect each other for what they bring to the game. Here's Jokic when asked about Edwards.
To be honest, yeah, of course he's a special player. I have a huge respect for him. He can do everything on the floor. It's how good and how talented he is. But it was him in the first half. He scored like 20 something in the first half.
And when asked directly whether Minnesota is becoming a rival for Denver.
Nikola, do you look at this Timberwolves team as a team that could become a rival of you guys in the future?
Yes.
It's all acknowledgement from the Joker, but it's the same energy from Anthony Edwards as well.
That might have been the best game of my life, that I've been a part of. Nikola Jokic, bro. Oh my God, he might be the best basketball player I've ever seen, close up, besides myself.
This is two elite players recognizing that the other forces them to elevate. One dictates tempo with vision and touch, while the other applies pressure with athleticism and shot making. When they meet, it doesn't feel chaotic. It feels competitive in the purest sense. And that's why fans ask the basketball gods for more of these games. But let's go back to how it all started. When Anthony Edwards entered the league in 2020, Nikola Jokic was already established. In their first meeting on January 3rd, 2021, Denver won comfortably. Jokic finished with 35 points and 15 rebounds. Edwards, still a rookie, scored 15. It looked like a generational gap, but that gap closed quickly. By the 2022-23 season, the matchups were no longer predictable. Edwards was growing into a primary scorer, while Jokic remained Denver's Joker to win their only NBA title. Then came the playoffs. In the 2023 first round, Denver defeated Minnesota 4-1, with Jokic averaging over 26 points, 12 rebounds, and 9 assists across the series. Edwards responded with 31.6 points per game, including a 40-point performance in Game 4. But that series planted something. And we found out what it was in the 2024 Western Conference semifinals. Minnesota didn't just compete, they broke through. Edwards opened the series with 43 points to steal home court. The series stretched to 7 games, and the Timberwolves closed it out 98-90. The series had analysts like Richard Jefferson saying this.
I'm just surprised by how the whole series transpired. That to me is what made it great. That's what made it mind-blowing. We're going to talk about this series. We're going to reference this series for a very, very long time.
That wasn't hyperbole. It was recognition. And by the time the 2025-26 season came, we didn't know that the basketball gods had a Christmas present for us. You see, when Denver and Minnesota play, the intensity is immediate, and it rarely takes long for the physicality to show. During the Christmas matchup, the tension was visible from the opening possessions. Edwards absorbed contact on a drive that left him holding his shoulder.
Edwards, pretty move on the up and under layup. As Edwards kind of rubbing that right shoulder as he heads back down the floor.
Then moments later, Jokic did this.
Yeah, Jokic right there and did hit that shoulder again.
Nonetheless, the game never spiraled out of control, but it walked that line repeatedly. Here's one notable incident from their matchups.
Gobert got hit in the face, apparently, and now a foul. Rudy Gobert and Jokic, there's a good rivalry there, but it's not a hostile one.
Yet what stands out is that the rivalry consistently stops short of hostility. Even in the middle of chaos, there is restraint. For example, during a playoff game, Edwards had a dangerous fall, and Jokic showed up to make sure Edwards was all right.
Here's Edwards. Edwards after a vicious move last possession, trying for another, gets the whistle, and...
That small gesture says more about the nature of this duel than any highlight ever could. This is not bitterness. It is competitive friction. Even when emotions boil over, the rivalry feels rooted in basketball rather than animosity, and this stays consistent even when players get ejected.
Clock starts. Edwards right to the rack with the flush. 25 seconds to go.
And now I think there's a technical foul right here. Gets his hand on the ball when Jokic is trying to get around it.
The moment was heated, but it did not redefine the relationship between the stars. If anything, it reinforced how thin the margins are when two elite teams push each other to the limit. Also, there is a mental dimension to these games, and one particular incident has become a meme.
Sorry, y'all. Hey, I was just telling Micah how this motherfucker knew to play with me, brother.
That was crazy.
Bro.
We have the stars on the bench. We don't know it. Jokic knew to play, but we didn't say anything. He knew to play better than us. When was that?
Huh?
When was that?
What?
When was it?
It was in the fourth. It was like 3 minutes left in the fourth.
After the timeout?
Yes, bro. It was right after the timeout. Me and Rudy like, this motherfucker say, hey, he's good. Me and Rudy looked at each other and said, how the fuck do we know?
This is another reason why fans love this duel, because Ant is ready to tell it all, whatever it is. And here he is talking about how it feels when Jokic gets hot.
We was just hoping he missed. It was at one point we was just like, bro, we hope you missed, bro. Just, you know.
And yet, despite that inevitability, Edwards never backs down. He keeps attacking, keeps talking, keeps testing the limits of what Jokic can absorb. All of this results in a rivalry that feels volatile without being toxic, physical without being reckless, and emotional without crossing into resentment. That balance is rare, but we saw it on Christmas Day. Before this game, Denver had already beaten Minnesota a couple of times earlier in the season, but none of those wins felt comfortable. There was always a resistance, and on December 25th, that resistance turned into something historic. Denver built a 15-point lead late in regulation and appeared to have control. Then suddenly, Minnesota responded with a 24-9 run that shifted the entire rhythm of the game. The possession that defined it came in the closing seconds, when Anthony Edwards rose over Jokic and drilled a twisting fadeaway three with 1.1 seconds left to tie the game at 1:15 and force overtime.
Jaden McDaniels will do the honors to get it in bounds. Gets it in, turning a three for the tie, good! Anthony Edwards with 1.1 second to go in regulation.
Then Edwards opens overtime, scoring with this.
It's to see if we can decide a winner to close Christmas. Edwards Stays hot using the glass.
But the response from Nikola Jokic was immediate and overwhelming.
See there on the screen, the Denver Nuggets 0 for 5 in overtime, and there's a hit. 2 minutes to go in overtime. Joker feeling it. Hits another 3.
Do it on the other side of the floor.
90 seconds to go here in overtime. Denver started OT, missing its first 5. They've hit their last 3. Jokic leaner, good.
Nikola Jokic shot perfectly in overtime, hit back-to-back threes, and calmly converted 8 straight free throws to close the game. Edwards, meanwhile, delivered 44 points of his own, even after absorbing contact throughout the game and eventually being ejected in overtime. Earlier in the night, he had predicted a big Christmas performance, and he delivered one. What made the game resonate was not simply the scoring totals, it was the way both players forced the other to escalate. Jokic did not dominate quietly, he answered directly. Edwards did not fade after mistakes, he attacked again. By the final buzzer, Denver had secured a 142-138 victory, but the scoreboard felt secondary. What lingered was the realization that whenever these two meet, something unusual tends to happen. The 140-139 thriller from the previous season was not an anomaly. It was a pattern. The thing is, Nikola Jokic's offensive IQ is chess, while Anthony Edwards' athleticism is a highlight reel. So, this makes the game a sort of brains versus brawn matchup, and that's the kind of thing that the NBA needs now as they deal with their issues of low ratings. It brings memories of the time in NBA history when Larry Bird's Celtics and Magic Johnson's Lakers kept colliding on the biggest stages and ended up saving the league. Today, fans are circling these games on the calendar. The next matchup is scheduled for Sunday, March 1st, 2026 at Ball Arena in Denver. Do you expect another epic game? Let us know your expectations in the comments. But whether you're an Ant-Man fan or a Jokic fan, watch one of these videos next.